You need to remove these things from your Amazon listing immediately if you want to avoid suspension or suppression or giving Amazon's AI the ability to automatically update and change your Amazon listings. In today's video, I'm going to be going into some of the huge mistakes that I see Amazon businesses of all shapes and sizes mistakenly doing every single day. So if you want to make sure that you are in the clear and free to grow and scale your business, then you should keep watching this video right now. Let's just start off this conversation with a general concept that is really important for you to understand. It's one of the biggest mistakes that I see Amazon FBA sellers make all the time, which is that just because your competitor is doing it does not mean that it is okay and it is allowed by Amazon. Amazon is a massive marketplace, and even though they are finding new ways, especially with the increased use of AI to be able to patrol and enforce their rules that they've set, there are still people that find ways around them or get by. If you want to make sure that your Amazon listing is in the clear, then you need to make sure that you are following the rules that Amazon sets out. And as much as that may not be what you want to hear, that is just how things work. So in today's video, I'm going to be diving into the 11 things that you need to remove from your listing immediately if you want to not only make sure that your listing doesn't get suppressed or suspended, but that you do not give Amazon essentially by default permission to go in and start changing your listings, because this is one of the things that could be really scary and problematic and something that you should definitely be taking note about. Lately, when Amazon has been making their updates to sellers about how they want to see things, they give the rules, they list out what it is that you need to do, and then they say at the end, and if you don't do this, then we're going to be using AI to make sure that you follow the rules. And at least up until this point, whenever Amazon's AI has begun to rewrite or rework sellers' listings, it doesn't have great results. And it can also be really difficult to take back the control of your listing so that the AI does not continue to make changes. So this is really important, not just to make sure that you are following the rules, but that you're also not handing over some of the power and control. Not that you have a lot to begin with if you're selling on Amazon, but that you're not handing even more of that power and control over and subjecting your business to the whims of Amazon's AI. So with that out of the way, not to scare you, but maybe to scare you a little bit, let's go into the things that you need to get out of there, remove them right now. Almost all of these are not new. It's just that they're being enforced now in a way that they haven't previously. So now's your time to make sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's and that you get everything spick and span to focus on what you do best, which is growing your business, which is selling your products, which is developing new products and not getting bogged down by having to wade your way through Amazon's bureaucracy and mess when things don't go as they should. A hair in my eye. Satisfaction guarantee or warranty. Get it out of there. This is something that is obviously you want to put it in there. It's trust building. It's a way of being able to reinforce to customers that you are there and committed to ensuring that they have a positive experience. You don't want those negative reviews, but you also want them to feel confident in buying from you. So I understand the desire to want to include it in there. However, Amazon does not allow it. And this is primarily because there are also other sellers that are allowed to sell on most listings. And if somebody else, if a reseller is selling your product, they are not necessarily going to be upholding and offering that same guarantee or warranty. And so anything that is mentioned on your listing needs to be something that is going to be upheld by and consistent no matter who is selling it, no matter who the customer is buying from. So get it out of there. 2, emojis and bullets and product description. I thought that we waved goodbye to these a long time ago. Amazon years ago said these are not allowed, along with bolding or any other sort of special characters. But it seems that people were just, they couldn't let go of their emojis and those special characters. And so they continue to pepper their content with them. And now Amazon is saying enough, get them out of there or our AI will take them out. Just as an aside, I know that emojis are oh so tempting because they are essentially a secondhand sort of language that we share in this day and age. However, emojis do not necessarily fit every brand and every brand identity out there. So even off Amazon, it's always worth considering, do emojis align with how I want my brand to be perceived? And really, that's just a good question to also ask yourself about any marketing decision that you're making. But when it comes to Amazon, they've made it very clear, no emojis, no special characters in the bullets, in the description. Get them out of there. Now, this third one, I was pretty surprised by. This was a new update where they are now saying that you are only allowed one comparison chart in your A+ content or premium A+ content. Now, the reason that I'm surprised by this is because this in particular seems like it goes against Amazon's best interest. If they want to be helping sell as many products as possible, then it would behoove them to sometimes allow, in certain cases where it makes sense, to have multiple comparison charts, because comparison charts can be used for a couple of different purposes. Yes, they can be used to compare across your entire catalog of the products that are very similar to help customers understand which of those items is the best fit for them. But another really fantastic application of the comparison chart is if you have complementary products, to be able to cross-sell those items together. So if you sell skincare and somebody is on your eye cream page, then you can also have in the comparison chart the full range of the rest of that particular full regimen. So the face wash and the moisturizer and the serum and the face mask or what have you. So now you're going to have to be really deliberate in deciding what is the best use of a comparison chart in my A+ or premium A+. And you're just going to have to use one. And this is another one where Amazon has said, if you don't remove it, we're going to do it for you. That's another, it's giving them permission to start up editing, and you don't want to get into that. And how do you know if you have multiples? Don't you want to be the one deciding which one of those comparison charts is going to be in your best interest for your business, and which one maybe you can wave goodbye to? I know that I would. Greenwashing claims. So this is something that is beyond just Amazon. Very important to be mindful of. You need to be really delicate with any words that or phrases that are suggesting any kind of sustainability or green initiative that you can't actually uphold. So things like biodegradable, recyclable, all natural, organic. Some of these require actual certifications. Others, you just have to truly fall into that categorization in order to be able to use that. The intention of this is so that brands can't simply be making these types of claims for trying to win over people, consumers that are sustainably minded, but not actually being able to back it up. So there's a little bit more nuance to this particular one, but if you do not truly fit those standards, get them out of there. Too many keywords. I've been saying this for years that you need to stop keyword stuffing. I feel like I just want to, it's a point of frustration that I see. And I urge you now to just let go. I know it's so hard. You see all these keywords, and every one of those keywords, especially when you see the search volume, you start daydreaming about the amazing potential future of all of these customers that are hungry for your product. But if you are using too many keywords, then you are going to make it difficult for the customers to get to the true important details about why your product is the best fit for them. But there's also another thing at play here, going back to AI, but from a different part, which is now we are also seeing the AI begin to become more ingrained in the search experience for customers. So Rufus is Amazon's shopping assistant that you can use to do more nuanced searches and help you really find a product that's going to be the best fit for you. We're even seeing that Rufus queries are now showing up in the commonly searched terms. Like when you start typing something in Amazon and it gives you the autocomplete of potential solutions. Now we're seeing some of those Rufus options as well. So search is changing. Search is going to change tremendously. And where this is going to have a big impact is that we are not going to have to be so straightforward and cut and dry with keyword usage of I need every single one of these million keywords in my listing. Instead, it's really all about accurately describing your product in a way that customers are going to be able to understand it, and simultaneously the AI will be able to understand it. And so this is reinforcing, this is where AI, I think, is helping to make the customer experience better in a multitude of different ways, not just with the shopping assistant itself, but also really deprioritizing this very binary way of looking at SEO. It's just no longer relevant anymore. So really be selective about the keywords that you do use, but always put a priority first and foremost. I'm not saying ignore the keywords. They're still important, but prioritize readability and connection with customers over simply adding as many keywords as you possibly can. Instead, be a little bit selective. And if you want to go in depth with how to do that, I have a video about the art of keyword optimization that I will link down below, which goes into how to think about incorporating keywords very skillfully and mindfully into your content. Long bullets. People. Bullets are meant to simplify information. They're meant to make it easier for somebody reading them to be able to quickly understand the most important details. So if you are making long, hefty bullet points, then you are going against the intention. And this all feeds itself, right? So if you're not able to help customers understand why your product is the best fit for their needs because you have these really long bullets that are overwhelming and are sending people away to your competitors, not only are you missing out on sales, but that's going to impact your ranking. Because if somebody searches a term that's really important to you and they click into your listing, but then they don't buy, that is signaling that you may not be the best fit for their needs. So it's so critical to always be prioritizing the customer's experience for this reason. Restricted language. Now, this is another one that is tricky because there's situations where you can and cannot use that language, and it all depends upon the specifics of your category and product. So most of the restricted language rules Their intentions are, one is there are certain items that are not meant to be sold on the platform. And so this is a way of making sure that they're not on there. And the other way is making sure that people are not selling things that they're specifically not allowed to sell or selling it in a way that they're not supposed to sell it. Three main intentions. And so there's a long list. You can find all of it in Seller Central. It breaks it down by category because most of these terms are category specific. So you may be able to say something if you're selling in one category and not another, or using those terms may put you into a more restricted category where you have rules around how you can or can't advertise your product. So this one is more nuanced, but it's really important that you are well versed, not only on what the rules are within your category, but just what the rules are more broadly. There are also other terms that are just blanket not allowed. So anything that is promotional in nature, so talking about sales or lower price, things like that, Amazon has said we don't want it there. So make sure if you're not clear on that, review that list. And if you're using anything that falls into that, ask yourself, am I allowed to use this? And if not, then I would really highly suggest that you replace it with something that's not going to be walking that gray or a very clear line that could be threatening the health of your account and your ability to continue selling. Are you still using all caps headers in your bullets? This was another rule that was communicated a long time ago. And this is one of those in particular where I think because we see that so many sellers are doing it and getting away with it, that we assume that it's okay. I think that this is also a case where some of it may be spreading of bad information. And so as an aside, make sure that whenever you're taking advice from someone, even from me, make sure to verify that that advice is legitimate and that it is up to date. Because a lot of times something that was okay a year ago, 3 years ago, or even just a few months ago has now shifted just because the rules change. And so it's not that somebody was knowingly misleading you, it's just that things are different now. And so make sure to validate the information that you're receiving and not just blankly taking it from a source and treating it as gospel. And I think that that's what happens too with the all caps headers and the bullets, which I understand. And years ago, that was something that we did as well. We haven't done it for many years, but it was something at one time that was treated as a best practice, and now it's not. And now it could be something that you get in trouble for. And so it's just not worth it. Instead, we use title case. In other words, capitalizing the first letter of every word in your header and then offsetting it with a little dash. So you're still helping to give that clarifying bit of information so that customers understand what each bullet point is about, while still abiding by the rules that Amazon has laid out for us. Get that out of season content out of here. If you are including still pictures from Valentine's Day and it's now September or October, or if it's March when you're watching this video and you still have Christmas imagery, make sure to get rid of that now. It's so easy for these things to slip, and I applaud you for wanting to make sure that you are capitalizing on the seasonality of things. I do think that that's really important to merchandising yourself online. But if you're going to do that, make sure that you are also setting tasks and reminders for yourself to refresh once that holiday is done so that things look like they are timely and relevant to when the customers are buying today. That's just one way of demonstrating a strong sense of attention to detail, which is going to translate into increased trust and perception of reliability. So it's really, really, really important. Along the imagery note, get rid of those poorly edited images where we see a spoon suspended in the middle of a kitchen that's just so poorly photoshopped with AI. You can get really great imagery at all price points, but that is, even if you're on a budget, it is not an excuse to have very poorly done images. Images are so essential to customers deciding whether a product is a good fit for them or not. So many customers are prioritizing images over even other elements of the listing when it comes to making a purchasing decision. So if you are relying on old, poorly photoshopped images that just do not communicate quality, I feel very confident in telling you that you are missing out on sales opportunities. So get rid of them, revamp them, and refresh them, because it will make a big, big difference. If you need a recommendation for where to go for that, let me know. You can just send me an email, reach out in the link down below. Lastly, this last one, this is the trickiest of them all. All these other ones are pretty straightforward. We understand where we're going. But this last one, while trickier, shouldn't be discounted. And that is get rid of your generic language. If you are just talking to everybody, if you don't have a clear point of view, if you don't have a clear customer in mind, if you don't have a solidified brand identity, then you are diluting your messaging and you are missing out on an opportunity to not just sell to more people, but sell to people that are going to be really excited to buy from you, that are going to tell their friends about your product, that are going to want to leave positive reviews about your product. So make sure that you are getting very targeted in your messaging so that you are able to really connect with your target customers, not just trying to sell to anyone between the ages of 19 to 99, but knowing exactly who you're selling to, exactly who you are as a business, and no more of that generic, watered down language. Get rid of it. Say goodbye. We've gone through a lot. I've been extra feisty and sassy in this video because these things get me worked up, because they're just silly reasons for why Amazon sellers find themselves in hot water that they shouldn't have to, because they're very straightforward rules, but it's still just the way that things are. And so now that we've covered what you shouldn't do, it seems like it would make really great sense to figure out what you should do by following my proven framework to create best-selling Amazon listings, which you can just click this link right now and go to that video and create the game plan to make your listing the one to beat. So I hope to see you in that video over there right now. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.